Hello, everyone. We're still in the coronavirus, and I wanted to read this to you today. I'm going to be in the book of Deuteronomy. I'm going to be in the 25th chapter. I'm going to read 13 through 16, I think. This says, Then shalt thou not have in thy bag divers weights, a great and a small. Thou shalt not have in thine house divers measures, a great and a small. But thou shalt have a perfect and just weight. A perfect and just measure shalt thou have, that the days may be lengthened in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. For all that do such things and all that do unrighteously are an abomination unto the Lord thy God. He's talking about having different weights, which is an abomination unto God. I'm going to use my iPad and read you a story. I might could recall it to you, but I don't want to miss anything on it. And it's called A Pound of Butter. It's a story. And it said there was a farmer who sold a pound of butter to the baker. One day the baker decided to weigh the butter to see if he was getting a pound, and he found that he was not. This angered him, and he took the farmer to court. The judge asked the farmer if he was using any measure. The farmer replied, You see, Your Honor, I am primitive. I do not have a proper measure, but I do have a scale. The judge asked, Then how do you weigh the butter? The farmer replied, Your Honor, since long before the baker started buying butter from me, I have been buying a pound of butter from him. Every day when the baker brings the bread, I put it on a scale and give him the same weight in butter. If anybody is to be blamed, it is the baker. So we get back in life what we give to others. Uh, whenever you do something, ask yourself, am I giving a value for the wages of money I hope to make? And but so that's what we want to talk about. That's why we have disagreements with other people, is because we don't always use the same scale. Our expectations of them are great, and then ours is, for ourselves is small. Um, when you don't give other people their value, you're using divers weights. Uh, most people don't feel valued. They feel wounded because they don't feel valued enough. Uh, when you do something, we use one scale, and when I do something, use another scale. When a husband does something, he uses one scale, and whenever the wife does something, they value each other. They give each other different weights, which is not good. Someone could listen to the same sermon, maybe it's possibly this one, and one use this weight and another one use another weight on it. We just tend to flourish in an atmosphere where we are valued. When we when your child does something, we use one set of scales, and when mine does it, we use another set of scales. It seems to be okay when yours does it, and not when the other person's child does that. And that is no different. Um, do we put one set of scales for another church and then use another set of scale for our church? I heard someone say one time that um, they had somebody marked, uh, and and they came to my ear, and I said, "Well, you need to be careful who you mark. If I had a big old Sharpie and I was going to mark something, if I was not careful, I could get the mark on myself." So I remember an incident uh, that happened at a church, and it was concerning their Sunday dinner, and um, there was a group of children, and they were pretty uh, messy when it came to the food line. I mean, nobody likes that, but they were children that needed needed understanding and tolerance and teaching, a lot of teaching, and so they would make a mess. And somebody kind of kicked up about it. Somebody kind of had some remarks to say about it, how that somebody needed to be taking care of them and ensuring they didn't do that. And lo and behold, they had somebody, a little child in their family, and there was a jar of pickles, and this child reached his hand in the pickle jar to get the pickle. When it was brought to that man's attention that criticized the other children, he didn't know what to say. So let's use the same weight. You know, over in the Bible, he said, "Well, what judgment you meet, that's the judgment that's going to be handed back to you." Make other people's measures generous, and minimize their mistakes, because we all make them. And so we need to have the same measure. And let's just love everybody. Let's let that be our measure. So I've gone about just right today. Let me stop while we're at this point. Until next time, if you need me, let me know. I love you.